Okay, I'd like to give a little demo on some of the stuff in Chapter 1 of Microsoft Word. So as you can see, this is our course web page right here. So, and then the student data files are here. I'm just going to randomly select this one of this Word 01 tips document and open it up just as a sample. And let's see, so I'm going to blow this up a little bit. So what do I want to talk about here? Some of the first things is a non-breaking rule is Control Shift and then dash. Okay, so I didn't mean non-breaking rule, non-breaking dash. Now, what do I mean by that? If the page break happens to fall there, not page break, line break, like over here, this would take the entire word down to the next line. Really what I like, I don't know if they mention it in this chapter or not, but a non-breaking space. Like, see we have our philosophy, that's one word, but as soon as I put a space there, Microsoft Word puts this, brings the R up. Does that make sense? Obviously that doesn't make sense, but say for some reason you wanted those two words to be on the same line and not to break, you could do Control Shift space and see how that puts a non-breaking space. I think that's an interesting feature. That's something I've actually used a handful amount of times when working on papers. Okay, a watermark. So the watermark is under the page, under the Design tab, watermark. And then if we just put draft here, I don't know if you can see it very well, but that says draft right there. Let's customize it. We could do, like, I don't know. We can customize the text, leave the font alone, and maybe make it a little bit darker so we can see it, even a little bit darker than that, just so we can see it. You would really never want it this dark. Okay, and I think on one of the assignments they have you do a page break and change the watermark on a different page, but if you have a tough time with that, don't worry about that too much. I'm not taking points off for that, because we were working out one day in class and it's too hard to figure out. You do have to make a section break next page and all this other stuff. And no, actually the watermark, I'm sorry, yeah, you do have to do that, but the watermark is tied to the header and footer. So you have to delink it from previous and all this other stuff. It's kind of complicated to do, and I don't think the book does a good job at that. Custom margins, go into Home. Actually, page layout, margins, custom margins, and then if you wanted to, well, it's taking a while. Here we go. If you want to make the left, like maybe in a little bit, that's going to really jam things up in here. But that's, you could change that around if you wanted to. Footers. And obviously right click to fix spelling errors. Footers, they are to provide additional resources for the reader of your document, and those would be under references. Actually, I'm sorry, I didn't mean footer, I meant footnote. Insert a footnote. Something like that, and you'll see. And then when you're done, actually, I don't want to do that. When you click out of it, you'll see that I think I was right here. See that little? Can you guys see that little one right there? That little one tells the reader, oh, there's more information. Then you come down here, but information that you may not, as a writer, want to include up in your text, if that makes sense. Now a footer, there's a couple ways to get to the footer. I always double click up in the header mode, and then you can go down the footer, and you could put, like, I don't know, whatever the title of your document is. I'm completely making that up. So some tips about things, I'll italicize this just so it makes a little more sense. And then I always double click to get out of it. So what the footer does, this is a footnote, what the footer does is it puts up something at the end of every page, that footer there. Okay, and you could do the same thing with a header. If you wanted to force a page break, say for whatever reason I want a page break, I want to complete the social media profile on its own page. The way I do it, you can go into insert, or sorry, page layout, breaks, page right here, or section break, next page, or you could just hit Control Enter. And you'll notice Control Enter. By the way, the reveal codes is right here. Again, the reveal code shows hard returns. It'll show tabs, page breaks, the soft or the space bar things. Just not everything, but most of the stuff you would need to see. The reveal codes. I call reveal codes. I'm not sure what Microsoft Word calls it. What other things are there? Okay, I'm going to undo my page break because I want to show something kind of complicated that I like to have on the exam. Turn off that, and I'm actually going to go into my footer and delete my footer. Okay. Now what I want to show you is how I can put a header footer on one page but not have it on the second page. So I'm going to put a hard break right here again. But this time I do want to put page layout breaks. I want a section break next page. The difference between a normal page break and section break next page is the section break allows you to do two different formattings. This does not. Whatever formatting you do on one page will bleed into the next page. If I do a section break next page, I can specify different formattings. And the one I want to show here is how to do different header. So here you'll see I have a section break. See, it says section break next page right here. Is what I call it. And so what I can do is if I want to have a header here but not here, like say this is a title document or something, I can go into here and see this blue button in the design of my header footer. This blue, this is actually a toggle. So the fact that it's blue means my two headers are linked together. Whatever I do here will show up here. You with me? Now let me go back into here and take this out. And notice how it took out here. Okay, let me go back into here again. This time I'm going to delink it. So notice how there's no blue there. And then I'm going to cross my fingers. I don't know why it gives me a thing there. Cross my fingers and hope it doesn't show up, because sometimes it does. And notice how it doesn't show up here. So that's a quick, simple way to do that. So if I ask you on a test to include a header with your name and page number but don't have it on the title document, my recommendation is this is how you do it. Now there are some hands-on exercises that show you a different way, but this is my recommendation. All right, I'm going to pause there for chapter 1.